of the Well Tempered Clavier. Composing the 48 preludes and fugues in all 24 keys was the sort of challenge Bach took up in his 2 volumes of the Well Tempered Clavier. He brought together in each volume 24 paired preludes and fugues, 12 in the major keys and 12 in the minor keys, arranged in chromatically ascending order. In each of the preludes, he established a principal motive which he gave himself free rein to develop. A compositional technique of the Baroque is known as fortspinnung, spinning out a motivic idea. The preludes and fugues in the Well Tempered Clavier are often contrasting and different in character. We can often hear some kind of mathematical tour de force being manifested in his fugues. To perform the preludes and fugues effectively, it is often necessary to achieve a creative understanding and interpretation of the works. The title page of Bach's autograph manuscript stated that the Well Tempered Clavier was meant for the use and benefit of the musical youth desirous of knowledge as well as those who are already advanced in the study. Although not published during Bach's lifetime, his students and later several influential composers in Europe, including Mozart and Beethoven, studied the manuscripts and learned the Well Tempered Clavier. Since the 19th century, many musicologists, scholars, theorists, and keyboard pedagogues have tirelessly researched, analyzed, and discussed these masterworks. As a professional pianist and educator in Singapore, of which I train many students for diploma examinations, playing the Well Tempered Clavier is an essential component of my diploma program. Students would often be encouraged to learn these works as their repertoire pieces, as well as to perform them in concerts and informal settings, and of course for the examinations and competitions. The study and analysis of the fugues would entail the knowledge and observation of the following. First, there is the subject, which is being announced at the start of the piece. This subject, which includes pitch patterns and harmonic implications, will soon be sounded in imitation by the answer. The answer, at a fifth higher or a fourth lower, alternates with the subject. Thus, we look at the statements of the subject, including the number of voices, entries, and the order of the entries. What about counter-subject? There could be a counter-subject or more than one counter-subject. The counter-subject usually work in contrapuntal techniques with each other and also with the subject. What about a caudator? A caudator links the entries of the subject in the exposition. So once the exposition is established, we will look out if there's any redundant entry. Multiple redundant entries would thus form a counter-exposition. As polyphony progresses in the middle section, we look at the number of occurrences and placements of episodes. There could be one episode, more episodes, or no episodes. In the middle section, fugue techniques would involve invertible counterpoint, stretto, pedal points, augmentation, or diminution. The understanding, thus, of the overall design of the fugue means a grasp of the sectional organization, harmonic progression, cadences, and cross-sectional relationships. Awareness of the varied textures, rhythmic motifs within the time signatures, the melodic contour, the pitch directions, and the climax points will lead us to establish the character and the mood of the fugues, including the tempo to take, the articulation, and also to outline the dynamics and definitely the realization of ornaments. Doubtlessly, these 2 remarkable sets of preludes and fugues have become the cornerstone of every pianist. In fact, it is known as the Old Testament of pianists. Now I shall talk about equal temperament. Bach's title, Well Tempered Clavier, suggested that he had written the works for well-tempered tuning system, all known as equal temperament, which is the standard modern keyboard tuning as opposed to mean tone temperament. Mean tone temperament during Bach's day refer to notes and keys of which, like D sharp and E flat, would sound very different, and F sharp and G flat would sound out of tune. In Book 1, Bach paired the E flat minor prelude of 6 flats with the D sharp minor fugue of 6 sharps. By equating both 6 flats of the prelude and 6 sharps of the fugue, he implied that the enharmonic keys are supposed to sound identically tuned for the entire work. Research by Fugues showed that Bach tuned his own harpsichords and clavichords, which allow him to play in different keys and to modulate into distant keys without even the listeners noticing it. Let me now talk about the matter of editions. For all these years, many editions of Bach's Preludes and Fugues have been produced. Even the best and the most conceivable editorial marks of expression may have produced results that are considered incorrect or debatable. Why is that so? Firstly, these works were composed for the traditional keyboard instruments of Bach's time, the harpsichord, the clavichord, or even the pipe organ. As such, it was not Bach's intention to express his meaning for the modern piano. Secondly, there are differences in results when we perform these pieces on different pianos. Sometimes in different acoustic settings, different music rooms, different examination studios, concert venues, and performance halls. Thirdly, the physique of a student, the sizes of their hands, whether they are large or small, would ultimately influence fingerings and sometimes even the control of dynamics. Thus, we have to recognize that in view of such circumstances, it is necessary to develop the most natural and authentic ways to express these pieces. Before I proceed further to look at the study and analysis of fugues, let me just discuss some possible editions. There are many editions in the world, but here today I have with me a Ricordi edition. This Ricordi edition, interestingly, has dynamics in it. It has tempo markings and sometimes also realizations of ornaments as well as fingering. There are slurs and including expression and also articulation marks. Here is an Urtext edition, the Henley-Verlag Urtext edition. In this edition, as most people would know, the notes are clearly spelled out, but without all the details of performances. It includes only fingering, and there are no markings of dynamics, pedaling, slurs, and also articulation. Here I have with me another edition, which is the Associated Board edition, edited by Tovey and fingered by Harold Samuel. In this edition, we can notice that Tovey actually has written commentaries at the front of every prelude and fugue. These commentaries are helpful for students to understand the works better. In his edition, he has included tempo markings, but not any other annotations. The updated version of the Associated Board edition is this one, edited and annotated by Richard Jones. The commentaries of Tovey are still here, but they are placed at the back of the book. The difference between this edition and the previous edition is that Richard Jones did not include any tempo markings at the start of each work. So, most of these Urtext editions are useful for students and are highly recommended. By all means, one can make references to marked editions for performance ideas and suggestions. Beyond that, it is most possible and rightful for teachers to explore details with every student, to make decisions and make such markings in the Urtext scores. The most suitable fingering perhaps, the most best way to shape the phrases, to decide on the levels of the dynamics, the nuances, whether to engage the use of the damper pedal, and perhaps even what speeds to take on. In making these videos, I would like to make a disclaimer that these are my personal approaches to the works as a learned and ever-learning professional musician. My ideas serve as suggestions for teachers and students, which of course anyone is free to add on, to reject, and even to dispute based on your studies and understanding. Essentially, what truly matters in my projects is that I would like to share my knowledge and introduce these masterworks to music students, and hopefully to explain concepts of these pieces without sounding too complex. Beginning with the works of Bach's Prelude and Fugue Well Tempered Clavier Book 1, there will be more pieces to come. Indeed, these videos are made for you from my many years of research studies, analysis, and of course from having a rewarding teaching, writing, publishing, and performance career. So, if you like to see more of my videos and support my work, you are welcome to subscribe to my channel, and I will be most happy to see your thumbs up. You're welcome to give your comments below, and I should try my best to respond to you. Thank you, and see you again.